Hey Boundless, well, I'll look and see how far I'll go, how far oh god, it's worse than 2 days ago. How far I'll come. Am I okay, from the, loudness compared to the music? Yes, I'm going to add more glitter. Yeah, my voice is balanced, but not. Oh, okay, but not my talking ability. That's a bigger issue, I think. Is it ever? That's a good question. Okay, Boundless, shoot if you have any more questions. This is what the stream is for. So, feel free to ask them. Jessica isn't, Jessica isn't around yet. She has to take care of a couple of, hedgehogs, I think it's called. Oh, it's okay. If those are some duplicates, I guess there will be some people today who didn't join 2 days ago. So, first question: who is your favorite end boss at the city of Ecrya and why? For me personally, it's Hedrith, the Wicked. Since I'm very interested about her storyline, why she's at the Cursed Mountain and not going that insane as other people have gone. So she's basically living up there and is still relatively normal. For Jessica, it's the Endless Bane. It's the end boss from the Restless, an undead creature, a huge worm-like creature. We don't have the art for it yet, but yeah, she likes huge worms, and that's why it's her favorite, basically. Question number 2. Is there a personal favorite layout of the board tiles and why? That's a good question. I do like the standard setup because it's very balanced. So once you reach the end boss, it's not that difficult if you prepare yourself right. It still can be that you just pick the end boss that you're like. They're from our end bosses are from 3 factions. The Restless, the Wildlife, and the Cutthroats, and you can't be strong against all of them. So if you're the one to reach the top of the mountain first and you encounter the one end boss you are not well prepared for, you're a bit screwed. But otherwise, in the standard setup, it's manageable. Then again, it takes quite long, and if you can't, if all of the players didn't defeat the end boss, it'll take some time, at least like 20 minutes to get up to the top again, because there's a big gap between the last camp and the end boss field, which is it's there so you have the time to prepare yourself again, so you are not just thrown against the end boss again and again and get frustrated by dying, but so that you have time to gather new item cards and equip yourself properly against the end boss and leave the other players enough time. But yeah, as I said, it takes quite long, meaning yeah, quite long. It's like if you're good with the game, you're like, it's like 2 to 3 hours, depending on how many players, of course. But for me personally, that's a bit too long. I enjoy games to be a bit shorter. So my favorite setup right now, I haven't tried out that many because we usually play with the standard setup to make sure it's balanced. I'm gonna open an artwork here. Not artwork, where is it? Ecrya, game design. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Did I move it to another? Yes, I think I moved it to another. Oh no, there it is. So yeah, we have alternative setups, and I do enjoy both the left one and the right one on the suggested ones. Those alternative setups were in the explanatory post we made on our Kickstarter campaign, the last update we made. We talked a bit about setups and how they work. The one in the center is for people who really enjoy the role-playing part and want to just keep it going and going and going and going. And the one on the left and the right are a bit shorter, but different different difficulties. The one on the right is a bit more tough, since early on events happen, and events can really help you, but a lot of times they it's just something that smacks you over the head, whether it's a curse or some undead creature in the night. So it's a bit tougher, and again, the last camp is 4 fields in front of the end boss. And so it makes it a bit tougher. You only have 2 camps, which makes it hard to gather arcane energy unless you have luck with your encounters. And this one is a bit easier. You don't have that many events. You also have only 2 camps, but they are evenly distributed. If we use a shorter path, I usually just throw something together which seems right for the occasion. With Jessica together, when we played, when we did the how to play video, basically, we took the tiles 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, 6, 7, and 8. Since they don't have any camp or event slots marked. You can see one here at the bottom. They don't. All of them are grey, and we put those 3 here. So we have an unmarked, like very clean path to the top of the mountain, and then we decide where to put the camp, where to put the event field, just like how we feel about it in that moment. I hope that answers your question. Yeah, and going and going. On the topic of the boards, how was the balancing process to ensure the boards felt fair with the standard layouts? Were there specific metrics you used, or was it mostly playing and seeing how it felt? It was more like, the last one. We didn't use any mathematics to do it. The way it looks right now is very similar to how we set up the board in the very, very early version of Journey to Ecrya, where it was a fixed board. And back then we thought long and hard about how we wanted the board to look like, because it was just one board. And so we tried out a lot. We finally came up with the spiral up the mountain. I showed that in the last stream, the early designs. And when we switched to the tiles, and I worked through how it would be smart to make to lay them out, I oriented myself on how the spiral looked, like not not initially with the spiral, but how it looked, meaning from how many slots are between a camp and another camp. Where are the event fields located? With the event fields, we went like kinda like with logic sounds wrong. It's we had a long and we had a couple of meetings where we thought about how do we want to set the board up. Yeah, we have a lot of balancing. I'm just looking through my game design folder since I had... Oh yeah. So yeah, we thought about script encounter. So we had the spiral, and then we thought, okay, we want the game to get more difficult the more you come to the top. So you start, so in the first 5 slots there's no event, then there's 1, then there are 2, 3, 4, or like 3, 3 in this case, or to not make it that overwhelming, just 1 which is in the center, which can either boost or like make you fall back, but then 1 in front of the last of the next camp. So if you get something that kills you, you fall back quite a long way, so it makes it a bit harder. And again with the next, where there are 2 and 2, and we had a couple, those are the 3 we finally were thinking about, or just evenly displayed 1 on each in each section, just on different situations. This was when it was fixed. Now you have the possibility to place it yourself. But we finally went with the green one, or something similar to it, not exactly the green one, but something similar to this. And this is what when I was creating the tiles, what I was thinking about. I want to have an event field just before the end boss field. It's important to have it there, so the last step isn't that easy. And from there I just counted, like in the standard setup, you have the first camp and you have the end field fixed. We have the number of slots, since it's 3s always on except the last field. And yeah, from there it went. I'm not just zoomed in on the abs, I'm working on the leather strips on his chest. Yes, abs and hearts, not just abs. So, the next question. What is your personal favorite thing about the world of Ecrya? We had a similar question yesterday, but this one's worded a bit differently, so let me think about that for a moment. Favorite thing? The world, so it's more about the lore, the question, not just the gameplay. Well, of course, one part I like about the world is that it's from our own creation, so Jessica and mine. That's a major part what to like about it. That it's not just a book or a story from someone else, but it's something we, or mostly she, comes up with. And yeah. Yeah, I meant the last stream, not yesterday, sorry. Yeah, so... So I'm very interested in a lot of things, since I don't know most of it. We have... Jessica shares everything she's working on, so I know about that, and I don't want to spoil her too much. But what she has already thought of but not yet written down, I don't know, of course, about, and so there are a lot of parts that I'm curious about how it will resolve. I do like the Northern Empire, which is a place in the lore where this pretty boy comes from. And I'm also very interested in what lies beneath the city, the ancient city where the heroes travel. And what what happened to Thank you very much for the follow. Odai Necromonus. I think. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. So yeah, for Jessica, it's the storyline of how the Cursed Mountain came to be. So there was an ancient city, and the people living there just vanished from one day to another, and left the whole land cursed. And there's a storyline behind it, which I don't know yet. But I'm very eager to find out, and Jessica too likes it very much, the whole idea and story of that. Odai! Feel free to ask questions if you have any about the game, or if you just came to watch some apps being drawn, that's totally fine too. So, adding to what I just told about the story, what's the thing you most want to learn about the world as it fleshed out and built up? So yeah, basically I'm mostly interested in the origin of the cursed place, and how the story will come to be. I'm also very interested in as I said before, the whole Northern Empire idea and storyline with the clans and the half giants. So why is there a whole race of half giants? All of that. No, I'm just gonna download the Twitch stream and then cut it all together. The crash on the last stream basically killed my recording I had of the first 2 hours. So the file is just corrupted and I can't use it. I haven't tried to fix it yet, but then I just downloaded it from the from Twitch itself in my creator dashboard. So at least I have that. Not sure if the quality is worse, but it's better than nothing, I guess. I restarted my PC before starting the stream, so I'm hoping that I won't have a crash today. But now that I mentioned it, it probably will crash. It didn't crash for quite a long time unless I start streaming or doing something important. My PC just wants me to relax and do nothing. I don't think Jessica would approve. Listen to the wise man. Everyone stand up and take a drink to hydrate. I wish it was that easy. Ah, come on. Can I block this person? Yes, I can. Question 5. What is your favorite aspect of the 4 main deities in Ecrya? For one, that they follow certain alignments. So the storm deity that, for example, Ranus believes in, or not, well, what is there to believe they are real, but the storm deity who he worships, as well as Vala, is the let's say, god of chaos. Darkness is like the now I'm forgetting the English word, the lawful evil, basically. And light is like lawfully good, so the goody good god who helps everyone, even those who don't believe in her. So going into that direction, I like that the deities have alignments, and I also like that they don't follow the typical elements like the deity of fire, earth, water, and air, but we switch the elements a bit around and made them, well, it's not unique. I think there are fantasy games out there that use the same constellation as we did, but yeah. I think you get what I mean. I don't believe in you as that they stand in front of the physical god works well. Yes, it definitely does. It's the best thing you can do. So, another question, adding to what I said before. Which of the 4 elements, Venom, Storm, and so on, is your favorite and why? If you have a preferred one for gameplay versus lore, feel free to give multiple. So, for gameplay, I really enjoy playing the with characters who worship the deity of darkness. Because I really do enjoy this like soul player thing. All heroes of darkness can sacrifice life points in each fight, so that they get stronger, and they also have some items where they can sacrifice life to make a spell stronger, or yeah. Things like that, and I do enjoy the aspect of that, so I don't have to ask other people for help and can focus on myself. But at the same time, I don't really enjoy the all of that, because there are some cards, enchantments and blessings. Well, enchantments, which are blessings and curses, that way. Those are treasure cards that you can randomly draw. And when you're playing as a darkness hero, you only can use curses. That means with each curse you give the other players some debuffs or something bad, steal cards, let them take damage or things like that, and I just don't use them. It's not that I don't like, I just don't use it because I'm not that kind of player. From lore-wise, I enjoy the deity of storm due to this chaos aspect of it. So it's just something that's very interesting for me in lore-wise to like when I look at what we have from the lore and this chaotic and people who pray to the god and then they still get bad things happen to them because the deity is kind of a dickhead. Okay. Question number 6. Favorite item card in the game, lore or gameplay, either or. Lore, gameplay, and art. For me personally, I love the Wayfarer's Charm from the artwork, and from gameplay, since with this item you can advance instantly 2 fields, but you skip the encounter and event part. I usually, if I get it, I always keep it so I'm two fields in front of a camp, and then I use it so I'm instantly in a camp and I'm safe. What I saying, favorite for me is always the unbeatable monster card you draw on your first step of the first camp. Yeah, those are the most loved cards usually. So art-wise and gameplay-wise, that's that. I do like most of our items cards since they're so colorful and pretty and shiny. Like, I do really enjoy the artwork of the sword, even though it's not that readable on the card itself, but I like the sword. It's one of the first items we actually finished for the game. So, yeah. Hello. The Moep. Sorry, I'm a bit weird. So no idea if that has been asked already, but what are the main inspirations for the game? Main inspirations? Bundles, I hope I answered your question for the gameplay. I don't know the lore about the items. What I do like about the last sword I showed, Map is correct, okay. The last item I showed, the sword, is an item where when you encounter a certain creature that was killed with the sword, you get a huge debuff or even die from it. And this is a bit of lore that I find very interesting and also fun as gameplay, since it's like it involves the story behind it into the gameplay, and I like that a lot. Okay, so the main inspiration of the game, we didn't have that question yet. So yeah, I think the main inspiration was D&D, so Dungeons and Dragons. For the few ones who don't know it. I made a mistake. I have crap. Yep. So that, and for the board game part, I took a lot of inspiration for how the encounters work from Starfarers of Catan. It's like Settlers of Catan, but a bit different. It's in the in space, and very rarely encounters happen where the next player tells you about it, like tells you what happens and you make a decision. It's not that elaborate, but I really like that concept, that small idea that was implemented there, and wanted to make it part of our game. For the random encounters and how the encounters work, we were inspired by Munchkin, and in the beginning we always said we're like a serious Munchkin. Yeah, I think those three are the main influences. We do have a lot of similarities to Magic and how our cards are designed and layouted, since Jessica owns like 5 million of them. Okay, a bit less, but you get what I'm at. And she really loves the game, and you can see the inspiration we had from it. A serious Munchkin, interesting, yeah. And we have less possibilities to like really screw up other players, than Munchkin. We didn't like that aspect of the game. Yeah, she has 4.9 million. She has a lot. She just has a lot. So yeah, I think that's all the inspirations we had. Later, funnily enough, even though we are compared to Talisman a lot, before creating Journey to Ecrya, we never knew about. Well, heard about Talisman, but never played it. Never knew what the rules are about what the gameplay is about. It was just not. We never came across of it, and then when we started presenting it to playtesters in local shops and whatever, and they said it's like Talisman but less complicated in a good way. Then we decided, okay, we should check that out, and tried Talisman on Tabletop Simulator, and it was okay. It's a great game, of course, but yeah. It was very funny that we're so similar to a game we never played and didn't know about. On the topic of our Centaur friends, do you find non-giraffe necked references for today? Yeah, I do have a couple of references open in second tab that you don't see here. But I won't focus on I'll focus on everything but the skin, and if in the end we still have time for the skin, I'll... Photoshop, why are you hating me? If at the end of the day we still have time, I'll work on it, but I actually fixed it a bit already. So the line was just too long in the shadow. So it should be a bit better now. I'm mostly need references for the I think Adam's apple area, since it does something doesn't look quite right, but I'm not sure about that. Come on, Photoshop, please. Sounds like an interesting concept. I will definitely check it out. Thank you. Thank you. Beneath the video we have two links. One for the Kickstarter campaign. We have videos linked there. In the updates we talk a bit about lore, we talk a bit about mechanics. Or if you don't want to look at a Kickstarter campaign, you can also click on the website link. We have a lot of info there too. We don't have the lore included yet because we still haven't decided where to put it. So it's easily accessible. I think it needs the tendons on the neck, that V shape. Oh yeah, yeah, I'll get to that. Probably off stream. Let's see how far I get, but I can spend a lot of time on skin. The last commission I finished, or I'm not finished yet since the commissioner didn't answer yet, but I could have made it like twice faster if I didn't focus on the skin too much. So I still see some areas that I could just go over and over and over again until they are perfect, but at some point I need to finish everything else and then come back to the skin and at some point stop myself. Oh, it's not about it being complicated, it's just that I enjoy coloring skin. I'm not perfect at it, but it's pretty much fun. I also really enjoy coloring like other organic stuff, like organs, lungs, or hearts. So trying to make it look realistic, so it gets that disgusting vibe. That's pretty fun. Haven't done that in a long time. I think I did it the last time I worked on a God, what was the game? It was a survival game on an airship. we needed icons and yeah, the skin does look nice, especially since I moved in on the pecs. And the saddest part about it, if I put the weapon in his hand, you can't see them anymore. Okay. That's very sad. I'm gonna cry tonight because of that. I should just make his weapon transparent. I mean in the card art it will still be covered, but maybe I should just put in a flag or something here. Wait, stream stuff. Something like that. Then it's covering up the weird arm that I can't get right. And you still see the pecs. Don't you think this is the best idea? Yeah, sword would be also a good idea, but we have heroes with swords, so he got some axes. But not a bad idea. We could think about that. Beautiful. The glass axe, yeah, glass axe would be great too. Names of this flag, and he keeps the flag. Nope. I warned you all. Now it's too late to leave. You're sucked in already. Did not expect that on a flag. That's just raising a red flag. The furries are coming. Well, he's half a furry, half a human. Okay, don't leave check. Okay, throwing in a question from the art group. Hi, Rea! Rea, hello! From the art group. What's your process to make sure that the art keeps constant from the first to the last artworks and chassis, and your art skills still develop with each new artwork? That's a good question, and actually a question. Hello, comrade. A question I will answer by showing an image. Showing two images, actually. So, starting with this from 2018, then this big jump is we changed the art style of the game. And this is last year when we did the rework of the first one. And what we try to keep, it's the main art style that we keep. So we still have the line work that is still visible. We put it on the same layer blend mode. I use the same brush set, so I have my Ecrya brush set. Where I use exactly 2 brushes for the whole body and stuff. The whole rest is for background and like a soft brush, texture brushes for wood, cloud brushes, so the cloud looks similar. So this is what we use. What gets better though is our coloring style and our understanding of values, our understanding of form, of poses, and so on. And at some point we sometimes need to adjust it, but then again the art is so small, as long as it looks the same, it's okay. So yeah, 2019, and a rework we did a couple of weeks ago. At the same time, this rework took us like 4 hours, while initially this first artwork took me about 3 weeks to finish. It was the first artwork I did in this art style. So yeah, from 2019 to 2021, you can see how much we improved in making the art, and sometimes a rework is necessary, sometimes it isn't. As long as we keep the general theme, there will be slight differences, like where are the lines visible. In the beginning with the first artworks, we all have lines everywhere on the stomach area, on the like t-shirt, the boob outline. And nowadays we reduce the lines as much as we can. We keep the outlines and then have a more painterly look, which wasn't possible in 2019 because I wasn't skilled enough to do that. So I hope I answered the question. I rambled a bit. If there are any, if anyone wants to hear something more specific in that direction, feel free to ask me to backtrack on that, since I'm not great at explaining. Yeah, so that you can witness how bad I am at explaining. I'm a skillet. Oh, and Ria, adding to the question you asked from the art group earlier, as you can see at the top of the top right, I have some swatches there. I took them from a different artwork, so especially the leather. The skin doesn't matter that much, but the leather. For the leather, I always take this one, and as you could just see, I adjusted just the color layer. So I always use the same colors, which makes the leather look very similar, and the same technique to color the leather. Even if my shading progresses, it's still the same technique, so it always will look similar if I did it at the beginning of last year or if I'm doing it now. And with the adjustment layers, I just make it away from this bright yellowish leather color. Funniest thing to happen in the playtesting. So Ria has noted the most fun things. The most fun recent thing was me and Jessica playtesting the game and realizing we did something not smart, which is not that surprising if you know us, but yeah. We had a card, the Wolfhide skirt, which, or something, yeah, something similar like the wolf. It doesn't that matter which card it was, but it had a buff against cutthroats. So if you wore it, you had 1 attack against the cutthroats, and it had bandits, specifically bandits had, which are also from the cutthroats, they had 1 resistance more if you wore that skirt. So the effect negated itself with the bandits, but with all other cutthroats it was there. And yeah, then we kind of changed a bit around the cards and decided it's too specific to have that. So we changed it to also cutthroats, and we didn't realize until we were playing that if the only effect of the skirt was giving plus attack versus a cutthroat, at the same time giving the cutthroats 1 more resistance, so the whole card negated itself. It was like, okay, you have a skirt that does absolutely nothing, but it has pretty text on it. Then in the early version, where we had much less cards, oh no, it wasn't about the cards, it was some issue with tabletop simulator. It somehow screwed up the deck, and bonus. So you somehow made fashion a thing in a card-based game. Impressive. Yes, yes, it was not even a very pretty skirt. Yeah, the Huntsman. It was a Twitch in the card stack. So it was Tabletopia and a tabletop simulator, I'm sorry. And we were playing and I drew an encounter, and it was the Huntsman. We narrated, we killed him, we defeated him, and then two rounds later, we again drew the Huntsman. And then we drew the Huntsman later in the game again. So we had, I think, 3 or 4 Huntsmen in the whole game. And that was kind of... We just kept on narrating it. we just kept on narrating it like he's coming back. Oh yeah, and he was brought back twice by another card, like you have to search the Huntsman in the stack. And it always happened to the same player. So always the same player always got the Huntsman again. No matter how often he killed him, he always came back. And the third situation was with the mushrooms. Something Ria, what happened with the mushroom? I remember it was very funny and it involved yeah, I don't want to say it on Twitch. Huntsman, zombie, huntsman, ghost, zombie, huntsman. Oh, huntsman, zombie, huntsman, ghost, zombie, huntsman, yeah. That was very early build of your own game, not TT. Oh, it was when I played, when I made a live playtesting session. The mushrooms were fun. They weren't as good as they are now, since they gave mostly negative effects. It was very early build of the card game, and I had the shrooms and I used them, but they didn't get consumed. Oh, it was of the digital version. I remember. Okay, yeah, we have the digital version of the game, which is being worked on slowly in the background. And we playtested that a couple of times. And in a very early build, you could use cards, like the usable cards, but it didn't always work the way it should. And in the build we had, it seemed to work until Ria tried to use the mushrooms. Like she had some magic, not magic mushrooms, some wondrous mushrooms. And as she used them, it wasn't the card didn't go away, it wasn't consumed, but the effects were applied. So she did it again, and they still stayed, and she was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave them, and then at some point they disappeared. And then we went to the encounter, and in the encounter there were shrooms. And somehow we got over that. Not sure how she encountered the shrooms. But when she actually won the game, but she couldn't finish it because the mushrooms were kind of still hovering in the world area. So the lesson we took from that is don't take mushrooms. And I explained it so funnily that it's rather boring than interesting to listen to it, but I never said I'm a good storyteller. Yeah, Ria became the new end boss. Educational stream, don't take shrooms, kids. Exactly. Now we have something useful. Nothing bad can happen on mushrooms. Yeah, of course, of course. Well, apparently you can spawn as the new end boss. That's not particularly bad until some heroes come along to chop you in half, I guess. Well, if you say it like that. So, next question. What's been the most fun part for you developing the game so far? Seeing the art come through, seeing the world get built, or something else? So for Jessica, she answered it on the last stream. It's seeing the world get built. So the whole game coming to life. For me personally, it's the... For one, it's the art. So seeing how much better we get, how those ideas we have come to life with from an idea mood board to like we always make mood boards. I can show the one for runners. So from other artists, their ideas, and then we work from their ideas to create something of our own. And that's a very interesting process for me, and also the whole prototype was very exciting to actually build a prototype, the final one that we have right now, have this game come to life. And not just in like, we had paper prototypes before, but it's something different to hold the game in your hands, and it will be much more amazing once we have the real game in our hands. Good luck with your deeds, Ria. And stay away from the mushrooms. Yeah, it's very good practical advice. Next question. Do you personally prefer the new hexagon tile set for the game, or did you prefer the original board? Notwithstanding which is overall more fun for more players. Well, I liked about the initial design that it was very easy, so you didn't have to think about setting it up at all. You just took the board out of the game, you placed it and you played it. That was very convenient. But I do like the tile system much more, since it gives me what I didn't like about the board when it dragged on very long. You had to just, you only had the spiral and you had to go through it, and for me it was like when people were kind of slow, and it took, with the old concept and ideas and what we had, like 4 or more hours. I just didn't want to play that long. And with the tile system, I just can from the start set up a game that won't take that long, and that takes much less time to play and finish. So this is definitely a pro for me. Yeah, they do, of course. That's the hex tile, or I said the hex tiles also add more replayability and customization. Definitely that. I personally don't need to have a different path up the mountain each time. For me personally, I just enjoy that I have the option to make it not that long. So, another question. What was the reason for the addition of the arcane system? For one, we've been taking a lot of feedback into consideration that people were lacking something to collect, some resource of the game. And we had a couple of different ideas. We had a long spreadsheet of ideas of what we could include to make it to add something. There were ideas of coins and shops along the path, but that would require having more items that can be sold. Otherwise, you collect the money, but it doesn't really have a value since cards aren't that rare, and then we had to throw over the whole system. So that being said, yeah, we had a lot of different ideas, and finally the magic won, because with the magic we had the option to give the encounters more options, basically. So for yeah, so some encounters need a certain amount of arcane energy to have a good outcome. Others, yeah, or not a bad outcome. That the end boss had another mechanic to fight against, and yeah, it was generally a good idea to add the arcane energy system, and in my opinion it also makes the game a bit more fun when you have to like also decide, do you use the arcane energy now, or do you keep it for the end boss? Will you get enough? Will you rather pay now the energy to advance, or keep it for a situation, for an encounter wherever it is needed? Question: with how many fake "give us your money and we kickstart your project" companies had you to deal with? Well, dealing is a harsh word, since I mostly ignore them. But it's tons. It's at least at the start of the campaign it was like 4 a day. Now it's like 1 every 2 days. Some are private messaging us on Kickstarter that we just block instantly. Some even bother to find our website, our email address, and contact us via email. Some use our contact form, and the funny thing is, I think we have a promotion option in the in the form you have to fill out, and they just pick anything. Sometimes it's play testing, sometimes it's bug report, sometimes it's tabletop simulator, and it's always the same. We saw your project on Kickstarter, and it's with us you will fund it in 2 hours, and something like that. Next question: what's your immediate next steps after the Kickstarter is fully funded? Immediate next step is just relaxing for a week and coming to our breath. Especially Jessica, she's been working like crazy. And then we start with the digital rewards to put them out. We work further on the project, we finish the card art, the balancing stuff, so that we can start the printing process as soon as possible. That's like the rough showdown of what we're gonna do after the Kickstarter. We have, in the campaign itself, we have a timeline of what we're planning on doing, of how our timeline is. Next question: have you gotten any more better feedback from reviewers and or playtesters? We have only some issues confirmed that we were already aware of, but we haven't figured out how to fix them yet. For example, the way we use the life points right now is a bit confusing, especially for new players. Once you understand the system, it's okay, but it's not very friendly right now for people to get in, and we want to change that definitely. We're still not sure how to make it better though, and it's on our main to-do list. We will keep the tokens, we will keep that the heroes have life points. It's just how are they marked and how do we word it on the cards. Right now the symbol for life points and for damage is the same, so it's a bit confusing. From other stuff, we had negative reviews, even a reviewer who said he doesn't want to, after receiving the game, that he doesn't want to make a review of it, which is totally fine. It's not everyone's game, but from what he wrote us as why he doesn't want to play it, there was sadly nothing we could take from it to actually nothing that that they said was like constructive enough for us to find something to change. So, when Journey to Ecrya is successful, where would you personally like to expand the world? Jessica mentioned the world underneath the city. Would you prefer the same, or would you prefer to expand elsewhere? Yeah, that's a bit of a very theoretic question. Depends on how well the game goes. If it just goes well enough and we publish the game and people buy it and that's that, we might focus on a completely different project, not necessarily in the world of Ecrya, since board games are very expensive to produce and to ship and everything, and it's tons of work that doesn't have to do with actual game design or art at that. So if the game is so successful that we decide to make expansions in that direction, I think first going into the mountain is a better idea than going away from it. So or a similar game type with a like location inside of the mountain. That would be that would fit most, and from then going to the different regions for like different games, different settings, whatever. But we don't want to limit ourselves to this world per se. So it depends on which idea will be decided on to work on next once we're done with this one. And depending on the theme and so on, it might play into the world of Ecrya, it might not. It really depends on where this journey brings us. Time for the tabletop Ecrya versions and people go nuts over miniatures. Well, true. But since we're not modelers ourselves and we don't know anyone personally who can do 3D models, it's very, very expensive to create those models, and I don't know how those people do it unless they have their personal 3D modeler. We tried finding people who will pay for making a miniature, but it's just wow. It's a lot of money. Was the game always designed as a multiplayer experience, or was there a solo version designed at one point? There was never a solo version designed, since with the idea or the goal of a tabletop game, we were thinking about a social experience. So the initial idea was for people to interact with each other, and a solo version kinda defeats the purpose of that. Which doesn't mean that we that we condone anyone liking solo version, not at all. It's just not what we were going for. Were there any major issues getting the prototypes, game staple, sample cards printed? Formatting errors you didn't notice, items looking strange in the small size, etc. A couple different ones. For one, we even though we knew about it, but it somehow slipped our mind that there needs to be some padding around the cards, because the cutting machines aren't that precise. So our borders were next to the card border, and so while cutting, even in the prototype you can see that some cards are a bit well, no, in the prototype we then decided to make the cards a bit bigger. So since we had black frame around it, while cutting it's not the standard size in the prototype, it's a bit bigger since we didn't plan on using that buffer space. That's something we reworked already. We put in the padding, the needed one. A smaller issue was that for the printed files for the prototype in the tiles, I forgot to close a layer, so there's a graphical error in that. There's a shadow from a camp, but the camp isn't on the field. So but that's something minor that, yeah. What we also didn't take in account is the CMYK printing, not in general, but in the specifics of it, the purple colors. With what we tried, we didn't manage to adjust the purple colors that much so that they look like on the screen they all look dull in comparison to what we actually were going for. So with a couple of cards we decided to switch it from purple to another color that we can more easily make look like screen. Yes, it's a ghost camp. But that's actually it, I think. Other difficulties we had was that we printed the prototype locally. We on paper we cut it out per hand, not the cards but the rest. We glued it on cardboard. And we didn't take into account how much work and time it is actually to do that. And so it took us much longer than we initially expected. So we thought we were gonna make a day where we make all the prototypes, and in the end, in this one day, we didn't even manage to finish one of the prototypes. There were still some things missing, and it took us a couple of days where I had half of the prototypes, Jessica had the other half, and we were just, whenever we had some free time, we were working on them. What we also didn't take into account was that the prototypes need the cards, that they have backsides. That's why on some of the prototype images you can see a white backside with a circle on it with a symbol in it. Not some on some pictures of the prototypes. It's in all prototypes that way. But yeah, this is because we forgot that cards have backsides, and after they were printed and cut and I looked at them, I was like, oh no. Oh no. I may have forgotten something. So, yeah, that was that. Ghost Hero race confirmed. Secret stretch goal. Also, have you all seen that you can create your own encounter and treasure cards in a Google Sheet, doc, whatever? If we reach 100 before the campaign ends, we will include one of them in the game for everyone. You don't have to be a backer to participate and to create it, but we of course would appreciate it, even if it's a small support like €1. Yeah, you have a Google spreadsheet, not spreadsheet, Google questionnaire. You can decide, well, we have two, one for treasures, one for encounters. It's beneficial if you know a bit more about the game, maybe read the rules or played it yourself on Tabletop Simulator or whatever. But you don't have to, it's easier to design a card for a game you know about. And, yeah, you can name it. Well, you have to describe what the card should be about. You can include an image, but you don't have to. You can already give it a name. You can give it stats if it has any. It can be in the encounters, it can be a location, it can be a creature from one of the 3 types. It's all pretty laid out there, pretty straightforward, I think. If you run into any issues, you can contact us in the campaign or on Discord or per on our website in the form, contact form. So yeah, try to be creative. Feel free to be creative. Next question. Were there any specific elements you had planned on having as aspects of the gods before settling on Storm, Venom, Light and Dark? Is there an element you wanted to assign to a god but weren't able to make it work? Not really. The elements were, we didn't assign them to gods in the beginning. In the beginning it was just elements. We want to make each like hero fit an element, and I said I don't want them to be the normal elements. Let's think of different ones, and then we brainstormed, and in the same setting we came up with those. I think Venom was Venom wasn't set in the beginning. I think Venom was something we worked around on, but it's 3 years ago. It wasn't that of an important decision, and that way we just want something that is cool. And with this as a base, we just started working. Jessica started creating the deities, the world surrounding it. So the elements were there before the world came. Oda, I think that he likes the Asian version of elements like wood, earth, metal and so on. Yeah, they are also very, very cool. I do like them too, but they're more than 4. I think they're much more than 4. If I'm not confusing it with anything. Lore-wise, least favorite god and or hero and why? That's something to ask Jessica. I can't give you an answer for that. I'm not that deep into the lore myself right now. So I don't have any. Well, I don't have anyone to dislike right now. Maybe if there comes some backstory that I don't agree with, but right now I like all of our heroes lore-wise, and gods too. You might think about the Pokemon elements. I honestly don't know the Pokemon elements. I've never played the game. I played the Pokemon Go for, I think, 2 weeks. When I was visiting a friend, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's a couple of them. I feel there should be more. Because they have tons. The Pokemon. But they also have poison. And I don't know why flying is an element. How can flying be an element? Shouldn't that be air? There it is, okay, yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean ghost, bug, or dragon. Oh, those are okay. I won't question the logic there. Oh, another question. What's been the most difficult thing about Journey to Ecrya that is not the Kickstarter or the artwork? For example, creating, running a business, tech stuff, working with vendors, etc. Well, we don't had to work with any vendors yet since, well, world situation and so on. Some online vendors were, well, no, the most difficult part, I feel I answered it in the last stream too already, is the marketing, is bringing our game out there, talking to people and telling about our game, bringing the word out there. It's really the most exhausting part. The art isn't that difficult, honestly. Well, it is difficult. It's hard to make it pretty and cool, and we put a lot of effort in it, but it's something we enjoy. Well, at least I do. I can't speak for everyone, but I feel Jessica's too also likes the art. It's art is basically the hobby we made our work. So this is not the point where we say, okay, the art is the hardest part of development now. Balancing is tough, but it's enjoyable. That's why I say that the hardest part for me is the marketing, because it's hard and not enjoyable. Whereas other things, yeah. The other things are, and with marketing I mean like social engagement and everywhere, but at the same time also talking to other creators, to other reviewers. A lot of time it's just draining since we have so much to do, and then chatting takes up a lot of time, even if we like it. It's just, yeah, exhausting. And with other like talking to different reviewers, talking to, like, trying to get them to at least try out our game is also sometimes very draining, especially if there's language barriers on our end or on their end or on both ends. That's even worse. And you feel sometimes like you've said the same thing, but that's in each profession like that. that there are some parts of it that aren't that great, and others are great. So where do we send spelling errors in the rulebook? It is the latest spelling errors. If you're in our official Discord, just post it there. Oh, Jessica came. Hi Jessica, Boundless has a lot of questions for you. Mup, if you're not in Discord, you can go into our website. We have a question form and a contact form there, and just post them there. So, question from Boundless to Shadowcode, to Jessica. What would you say were your biggest influences for creating the world of Ecrya? Any favorite games, books, movies, etc. that really build it up? I know it was compared to D&D, but what other influences helped you create the world? So, the answer to the question of what inspired Jessica for the world of Ecrya is all manner of fantasy games. Honestly, I didn't look up any specific things, just taking a bit from everything I played over the years. For the card game part, Magic was a big influence because I have a slight addiction problem there. Yeah, Jessica, we discussed that already, that you have 4.9 million Magic cards. Yes, I counted them while you were asleep. I went to your house and I counted them. So another question for Jessica. Lore-wise, favorite and least favorite god and or hero, and why? Jessica's favorite god, she'd say it's darkness. Because she likes what she came up with for them. And least favorite so far is light, cause it's not that fleshed out yet. As for heroes, she likes Zalet and Vala a lot, but she doesn't have any least favorite ones. Yes, Ranus has no weapons, only abs and a flag, an Uvu flag, cause he's a half furry. Yeah. The flag gives him attack bonus. Yeah, the top half is furry, the lower part is animal. Oh, Naranus is her least favorite character. Not Dunmar? You always for a time we had that Zilza was your least favorite character because compared to the other heroes he had the less effects, but that's fixed by now. The perspective is off on the horse body, but it doesn't matter because you won't see it. Time to create a reverse version. Top half horse, rest human. Nah, he would have hoof hands. I'm not gonna click on that link. I'm just not gonna. Jessica, let's curse the images more answering on questions. Answer for me. Do you prefer to work on the creature artwork or the background environment art? Any particular reason? I personally prefer people creature, just yeah, environment was never my forte, so to speak. So it's of course, well, I like both, but I prefer the creature art, just since it's also personal preference to draw creatures. So, question for Jessica: which of the elements of the gods is your personal favorite gameplay-wise, and why? For Jessica, it's venom, because she can poison people. Well, do you blame me for running away from everyone if my surrounding people poison others? Jessica, like the one time she killed me by running into a wall because I was scared of the dude that was following me around, and Kira let him move into a corner for some reason. That's not my fault that he had to go and move into a corner. That was his character development. That was no development, that was very gross. You laughed. You were laughing. Don't act like it wasn't funny to you. I know it was. I know you liked it. I know you did. Another question for Jessica. If she can give us some hints about the new lore releases we'll have. She says she's working on the little hero introduction stories right now. Zilzar is next, and after him there'll be Aelin. Evershade. So the question is to Jessica is favorite part of the world you've built so far. Jessica says, well, the part I spend the most time on is developing is the Blighted Lands and the Cursed Mountain itself, so that's my favorite too. Rest will get there too, of course. When we fund, I gotta get to write the whole lore book after all. Okay, and the last question I'll answer for today is art-wise, why did I cover the leather in one color? It's as I explained earlier, and as I did with the other leather parts, to maintain the same art style. I used the same base color, the same color set for leather, and the same technique to color it. In the early version I didn't use it. As you can see, it looks different from texture and color. I just put it there so we as a general idea. And now I painted it in a solid color so that I can start coloring it with the same fitting coloring technique that I use for all the leather in the game, be it items, be it creatures, and then I color it into the with an adjustment layer, color it in the color we need. And yeah, so that the leather looks the same with Rovar, who I did 2 years ago, the same as with him. Background. I have the background, I have the leather and the weapons, and some minor fixes, like the neck. Still to go. Last real question, will there be more Q&A streams in the future? Yeah, sure. Not every day, but I'll try to make them more regularly. Since it's also fun for me. to work and answer some questions. Especially as long as the campaign is running, I want to do more. In some streams we maybe won't be painting, but be playing the game. That would be also an option of what we could do. It doesn't have to be always art streams, but it will go over this channel, so you'll get notified. Everyone who's following me, the others, we will announce it in the channel. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. Hope the next time I stream the number will be much higher than I have at the top. So yeah, good night everyone. I hope to see you next time.